Hello, Kickball, and welcome to a bit of Recap-O-Rama. We had South Florida Kickball this last weekend, and we're here to talk about it. An old washed-up team won the tournament. There were rules stretched and confused, and Brick wasn't even involved. Also, we have a new addition to our pool of podcast players. We had him on once. We liked him so much we brought him on again, Mr. Horsey Sean Laird. And that's it. This must be Encroachment Episode 6, post-SFKO 2015. As mentioned, Sean, say hi to everybody.
Are you ready for some kickball? What's up? This is late, so I wish you guys lived on this coast. I'm tired of kowtowing to the West Coast, so let's get through this. Let's tell everybody what happened. I'm ready to go. Let's do it.
Yeah, we can finally get you some sleep. We also have Steven on this coast to just sit back and answer a whole shitload of questions that we're going to ask him about this last weekend. Hello, Steven.
Hello, hello.
All right, so first things first, let us talk about the winners of the tournament, the old washed-up Meatballs. My God, they're an awful kickball team. Why do they continue playing? Because if you watch that finals game, they're still really, really damn good. I just want to say this. I know the situation. I've played the situation. Most of the people watching this podcast know and have played the situation. And it is goddamn tough to hang, what was it, 7 runs on them in a single game, much less the finals of a tournament. So Meatballs are still a pretty solid squad because, yeah, situation, last year's CCC champion, I mean, they're a good squad. And the Meatballs, looks like they took care of him pretty effortlessly. I watched a bit of the live stream on the game. Steve and Sean, I don't know if you saw the game live. What can you tell us about the game?
I'll go first. I didn't watch a second of it, so I can't tell you anything. Next.
Good work. I'm so glad we brought you on this podcast.
I'm on this one, but I'll say yes to anything.
Okay. Steven, did you get a chance to watch the game live? Of course you did. You're the CEO. You're paying attention to everything.
Yes, I was there. Part of the game, not gonna lie, I was cleaning up because that's what CEOs do, putting things back together. But yeah, I watched a lot of the game, and it was impressive. I'm not gonna lie. I know situation, we're missing some players. However, you can't take anything away from the performance that Meatballs put in, man. It was impressive. They were on a mission for sure.
Absolutely. And I will say this, if Worley does not change his walk-up music to Don't Fence Me In, that kid is dead to me. How disappointing is that? You kick what on any open field would be a 3-run shot. Instead, it's turned into a 1-run ground rule double. See, look, this is why the West Coast is better than the East Coast, because our fields don't have fences.
Your baseball fields don't have fences.
Yeah, playing at those fields, they were fantastic fields. The fences are, it's part of the equation, part of the game. And in that particular scenario, it didn't work out in the Meatballs' favor for that particular play, but it was still pretty impressive to watch, man.
Certainly was a hell of a kick on the live stream. I was watching it and saw the swing, and yeah, the ball just kept going until it bounced and then just kept going some more, and everybody stopped running. And I mean, sure, you can say, well, we're not sure it was going to be a home run. I'll tell you this: Worley had rounded second by the time the home plate ump called ground rule double. So I think it's pretty safe to say that even if the fielder had gotten to the ball, he's home safely.
Is it on YouTube?
It will be eventually. That will be a question for Tim. I'm sure he will let us know at some point when he gets it posted. I would like to say this about the live stream. Look, I know kickballers. I know you people. And I guarantee that at that tournament, at that game, there's at least one other person who enjoys hearing themselves talk as much as I hear enjoying myself talk. So for Christ's sake, if I'm not at a tournament, get somebody behind the goddamn camera calling the game. I was watching it. I enjoyed it. But
you mean like Joe Buck style, like actually calling the game?
Yeah, we've been doing that. Shane started it a couple of years ago. I've started getting in on it as well. We are calling games on the live stream so that jackasses like me who are across the country away, we can watch, we know who's up, we can see what's going on regardless of how fuzzy, crummy quality the live stream is, trying to use our wonderful cellular network to stream, HD. And it also keeps us updated with what the score is. And yeah, I mean, I was watching the game. It was fun to watch, but just had no idea what was going on at any point in the game.
I've watched a pretty good amount of these videos. I've never heard one. So this is just a live stream. It's not announced on YouTube's.
It is recorded on some of the archive games. So talk to Tim about it. Maybe Tim will hopefully get on.
I'm not going to talk to Tim at all about it. I just don't care enough. But I'm just for my own information.
You care enough to bitch about it, but not care enough to go.
I'm not bitching about it. I'm just wondering. I mean, I'll announce them if you guys want to lose viewership. I'll announce every game you play.
Hey, look. I started announcing like last year or the year before, and I don't think we've lost viewership. And if I'm not going to lose viewers, Sean, you're certainly not going to lose viewers.
I'm going to gain them. It's going to be on Fox Sports after this.
Yeah. The downside is you do have to stick around till the end of the tournament and drink whatever Miller Lite swill people are passing out. So that's the one downside.
I stay at every tournament except the home tournament because no one else on my team after we get blasted wants to stick around.
Fair enough. Fair enough. So, yes, those were the finals, and getting to the finals, I cannot remember. Who did Situation and Meatballs have to go through in the Final Four?
Looks like Legit and Hammerheads.
Okay. Both solid teams. I don't know if anybody made the call for Hammerheads in the Final Four.
I don't even know who's on Hammerheads. I'm going to have to look at that.
Yeah.
I tell you what, I'll say this out loud. Don't sleep. D. Shaw.
Oh, no, I've seen the Hammerheads. I've seen them.
Is legit, man. He throws that ball with some heat on it.
Deshaun from Legit or Deshaun from Hammerheads?
D. Shaw from Hammerheads.
Deshaun from Hammerheads.
Okay. The tall guy.
Yeah.
Yeah, I saw one of their games. They were pretty good.
I think they only brought like 12 out too, so it was definitely a kick-ass day for them. They saw a lot of at-bats and a lot of time on the field, and still managed to have enough in the tank to go all the way to the Final Four. So good for them, man. That was a big showing for them.
Yeah, and also a good showing for Legit, who I don't know if anybody called for the Final Four. I know my predictions last week were completely off because I think I predicted Meatball shitting the bed and not even making it to the Final Four. But yeah, good work there. That may have been sarcasm. Actually, you know what? In retrospect, I'm going to say it was sarcasm. I was not serious about it at the time. Steven, your prediction had the Gargoyles in the Final Four, and I would like to point out that you guys missed that by 1 run in double overtime. What happened, man? So damn close. Did you run out of gas? Did somebody blink? You could have had a West Coast team in the Final Four at SFKO. What happened?
I don't want to talk about it.
Oh.
No, I'm kidding. We had a great day, man. It's just we've got to be prepared to, big players make big plays when they need to, and we just missed some great opportunities versus a good team, and Legit took advantage of our mistakes, hands down. That's what you can't do versus good teams. That's what East Coast teams do very well, is don't blink, and he who shows his hands first is going to end up watching the next game, and that's what we did. We ended up watching the next game.
That's too bad. So close. And I think that was the longest game of the day, the only one that went double overtime. I know there was a couple other elims game that went overtime, but that one went 2 innings, right?
Yeah, that one went 2 innings. The Hammerheads most wanted game went into extras as well. So we had a couple of overtime games, but it's all good.
The usual sort of thing, get into the elims round and start to see a lot more parity, a lot more teams not necessarily walking away with the game, and whoever doesn't blink first, I suppose, or show their hands first. So that's good stuff. Well done.
All of the Elite Eight games were one-run game. All the quarterfinal games were one-run games. So
nice.
The cream definitely rose to the top, and we had some good competition down towards the wire.
Excellent. And speaking of 1 run, Sean, I saw according to the spreadsheet, your team scored 1 run on Saturday. How was your day?
It was great when we got that run because we didn't think we were going to get it. And then we manufactured it. We made that run here in America, manufactured here at home, and we were pumped to get it because getting shut out, I don't think I've ever seen it happen. Even like the joke teams that come in an ambulance, I've never seen anybody just score 0 runs. So I'm really happy to have gotten that 1 run, and we're going to look forward to build on that, maybe get 2 next tournament.
Nice.
Now double up.
Now tell us, how did that 1 run happen? Somebody bunt on, somebody moved him around, somebody got a good kick in?
One of our girls had a nice kick. She got moved to second, and then some guy just placed one down the line and sent her home. I was like, you better get there, or else, I don't know. make any off-color jokes. So I'm gonna say you better get there. We need this run. We need that run.
We need that run. Yeah, you are our last line from severe embarrassment. So I'm glad that your girl was able to keep the Chernobyl river goats from total embarrassment. Was there a lot of
you know what they say about girls? Keep them at home, and that's what we did with her. We got her home. We kept her at home.
I can't tell if that's sexist or not. I really don't know. I mean, I'm usually pretty good at it.
Empowering. She had more runs than all of us. It's so empowering.
I love it. And was there a lot of bleeding? Did you guys bleat a lot?
What? Did we bleed?
Bleat, your goats. Remember your
we brayed. Yeah, we brayed. And we bray.
Monkeys bray, goats
every day. We brayed. We ate a little bit of grass. We stole some team's chants. But it didn't help us on the field. I had a bunch of guys. Okay, I knew like 2 people on my team and one of the girls, so 3 people. One of the guys got a bunch of kids from his work that plays in a local league that's not Waka, and I guess they found out it gets a little bit more real out there at SFKO. These people are legitimate athletes. They show up sober to games. It's revolutionary in my mind.
The humanity. Why would anybody do that? So there was a little bit of a wide-eyed wake-up call for a good chunk of your team?
Yeah, I don't think they were just dejected. They're like, yeah, let's just go home. I think that's about the end of this. We're not going to be doing this anymore. I shut up sober, though. I was pumped up. I had all this energy, and it just wasn't enough. You can't, if you don't have the talent, you can't Urban Meyer everybody to the title, and we all sucked. Every single one of us was terrible at kickball.
Did any of them catch the bug to want to do another tournament, though?
No, definitely not.
Damn it. We keep trying to get more teams onto the circuit, and
no, we're just probably just gonna join. Like, I'll play with somebody else next tournament because I like to travel around.
Sure.
But I'm not recruiting people that don't want to even play in a local tournament. I mean, we had to say, like, guys, you want to do this? Come on, do this. Here, come on. I'm not gonna be like, oh, and you have to fly to Nashville, even though Nashville's cool.
Getting travels teams together can be like pulling teeth sometimes.
I'm done with it. I used to do it. I'm done with it. I'm just done.
You'll just join up with somebody else who's going instead of
the people that can do that. More power to them. I just can't do it. It's been enough. I've had enough. It's more work than people think. So, like, the people that have been doing this for 7-8 years, more power to them.
Yeah, there are. I put my hand in it for a couple of years and promptly decided that it sucked, so I stopped doing it.
Yeah, it does.
Yeah. And why anybody would want to, captain a team and run all sorts of those kinds of things while being the CEO of the circuit is positively baffling to me, Steven.
Screw you guys. I'm having a good time.
Hey, if you like doing it,
Of course you do.
Go.
Speaking of challenges, who won between the kickball players and McSorley's over the weekend?
Oh, well, the guy on my team, he didn't go, and I didn't feel like it, so I didn't even really play. I got somebody else. We played Tyson and his teammate. Got slapped. I didn't play any more beer pong. I was done. I just wanted to go around and rage after that.
The raging definitely happened. This was my first experience with McSorley's this year, man, and it was intense. There's the Sunday Fun Day. It gets pretty wild inside of there, man.
We do Sunday a little too hard over here.
What is there anything that you can equate McSorley's Sunday Fun Day to that people on the West Coast would know or understand?
Coachella. No, I don't know.
Okay.
You guys have bars too. It's just people. You wake up, you go out, and then you go to sleep. It's a tough life. I couldn't do it anymore. I had to leave. I had to move to the other coast where everybody's 68.
Yeah, I guess that's what happens.
They're 69 when I show up, though.
Hey, I see what you did there.
They call me the year. They call me the year.
You guys are silly.
Yes. So, all right. So, one and done at beer pong. Steven, did you any beer pong for you, or was it just glad handing, shaking hands? And now, were you buying people drinks, or were people buying you drinks? And you're the man in charge now. So, can it finally turn around that people are buying you drinks?
You know what? It was a lot of fun. It went both ways, man. I met so many really awesome people. To sit here and try and go back through everybody's name would be just utterly ridiculous.
I didn't ask you about people. I asked you about the booze.
Didn't ask for a Grammy thank you speech.
Yes.
I'd like to thank God and that guy that bought me a
Booze was great. I had fun. The end.
Okay, that's a fine answer. I appreciate hearing about that because yes, another reason to travel for kickball. Although some people try to travel for kickball and don't. It's the elephant in the room. We might as well talk about those guys. Were not able to make it. Some sort of snafu at the last minute, missing one of their players, and those guys did not show up to the tournament. Forfeited 4 games. And created a whole big spaghetti plate of mess for the rest of the tournament. That obviously worked out fine, but certainly not standard for what we expect to see out of tournaments. For starters, does anybody have any word? What happened to those guys? I mean, we played them. I played them in Austin. They're a good bunch of people. I mean, good players. Any word as to why they didn't make it to the tournament?
Yeah, so whenever they were missing, we went ahead and reached out to some of their players. Apparently they had a young lady who couldn't make her flight on Friday, and so because of it, they figured that they would be illegal and just decided to not show up. A little disappointing. You know, that definitely changed a lot of things from the landscape of the tournament and how things shook out. You know, maybe not. They are a good team. You know, who knows what they could have done or how that could have affected the rest of the field, really going into eliminations. But more than anything else, I'm just, you know, a little disappointed that we didn't get the chance, you know, to have them still come and play. You know, at the end of the day, players come to tournaments to play games, not to collect forfeits. And so kind of sucked because that meant teams in their pool had, you know, 1 less game, even though they did get the win. Kind of sucked from a standing standpoint because those teams that did get those wins, it affected how everything ended up shaping out on the end. And it also kind of sucked because, you know, we want to be in a position to help our players in those situations. I mean, that if nothing else, that situation definitely calls for some emergency exceptions about allowing the girl to either get registered late or trying to pick up a local. There were just so many options that we would have had if we had known or if they had given us a heads up and just, you know, said something instead of just not showing up. So, you know, that's where we were.
Well, let's go step by step through that. You know, through all of the parts that stuck. So, I mean, obviously, first of all, I'd like to start by, you know, I certainly am not putting any blame, and I'm sure no one else is, for somebody not being able to make it to a tournament last minute. Look, we all get it. Life happens. We're not professional kickball players. You know, so yeah, shit happens, and there are going to be times when something like that happens, and yeah, your 4th girl's not going to be able to make it to a tournament. Now, let me just pose this question. Say you, Kickball 365, Steven and Matt, and you know, all the people in charge. What if somebody comes to you? Say, I mean, obviously, if somebody comes to you at you know, Saturday morning at 8:50, saying, you know, we're missing a player, there's not going to be time to register somebody else. But you know, if somebody calls you, like, say, you know, Thursday night, Friday morning, Friday afternoon, is it the kind of thing where, you know, an emergency registration exception can happen just to make sure that they have a team to play?
Yeah, I mean, I'm going to be clear about that. We're not going to turn this into a common practice by any stretch of the imagination. Registration closes for a reason. You need to have your team together for a reason. But like you said, none of us are professional kickball players, and life does happen. So in that situation, especially, you know, with them being only having 3 girls at that point in time and needing a 4th girl to be legal, we're not going to have them come to the fields and then say, no, you can't play because you only have 3 girls and the last girl missed her flight. That is pretty much by definition an emergency situation. You know, we do have things in place for emergency registration. It's just not something that we're going to do on any normal basis. It does have to indeed constitute an emergency. And in that scenario, that was definitely an emergency. Again, you know, the point is to play games, not to sit around and forfeit. And, you know, things like that do happen and do come up, and those are calls for emergency exceptions. So,
provided you guys know that some sort of emergency exception is needed.
Well, I think if somebody shows up with 3 people and goes up and says, I have 3 people, it would probably speak for itself that something happened to the 4th person.
Exactly.
That is true. That is true. Yeah. Exactly. And you know, looking at it 2 ways. I mean, obviously, no, you don't want to switch to a thing where suddenly people are, like, you know, registering Friday night before a tournament or you know, the Saturday of a tournament.
Who's gonna do that?
We're kickballers.
And that's
us.
Yeah.
I mean, I tried it, and they said no, and I said, all right, cool. It wasn't exactly I don't know. And then my fourth girl got sick, and so I registered somebody Friday afternoon instead of not showing up.
Yeah, I mean, I think there's a difference between, registering a fourth girl so that you can actually play the tournament versus, adding your 11th guy or your 6th or 7th girl or even your 5th girl, that late in the game.
They wouldn't let me get a 5th girl last minute. But when she turned into 4th girl, and in my heart, she's just the 1st girl. They all are. And it was okay.
Why do I get the feeling that you're writing a love song here? This is touching my heart. Are you Phil Collins?
I like Phil Collins.
Who doesn't like Phil Collins?
I wish I had the net worth that he had post-divorce after he lost half of it.
Yeah. He loses half of it. He's still worth more than like 40 of us. It's awesome.
He's made some horrendous songs, though, but I still like him. He's got enough good to balance out the bad.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Wrapping this whole thing up, the answer is we're not going to make a practice out of it, but we want teams to be able to play it, and we understand the emergency versus a convenience. If you're registering your 5th girl on Thursday, our answer is going to be no. If you're registering your 4th girl to make a complete team, that's something completely different. So
now I don't know those guys, but I feel like if I were in that situation and say I flew to Kansas City and one of my girls got arrested for prostitution and I didn't have a 4th, I don't think I'd just be like, all right, guys, let's just chill out. We're not going. I would go, and we would try to figure it out there. That just seems like that would be the natural reaction, and they didn't do that.
Yeah, probably 98% of players on the circuit agree with you on that one. I mean, you go to play, and who knows? We're not going to knock whatever decisions they made. We
can knock them. We can still knock them.
Well, they pay their money to play.
Yeah, like I might have flown Spirit to this city. I'm playing.
Yeah, exactly. And we didn't really have the chance to even help, and that's kind of, like I said, what's the most disappointing is we didn't even have the opportunity to say, okay, let's figure this out together. We have a pretty solid core of locals down there. Somebody somewhere would have been able to play as a 4th girl in their team, and kind
maybe you should put a phone number on the website, or you don't want to get.
God, yes, Steven, put your phone number up. Make it public.
You don't want to get blown up. Hey, have it forward. Have a call forwarding. You can do it through Skype for $3 a month.
We'll figure something out.
You could pick like an 801 area code. Be like 801 kickball with 1 L.
We'll figure something out. Being able to get a hold of someone from the company for situations just like this, days before a tournament or even right before a tournament, I think is something that we do need to implement, and we'll definitely do something going forward as far as being reachable for scenarios just like this.
Yeah, which makes a lot of sense because, obviously in this case, it would not have provided an advantage to the team, but, those guys not being able to make it this late in the tournament had a direct effect on 4 teams and an indirect effect on every team in the tournament.
I don't want to play the forfeit anyway.
Pardon?
I don't want to play against the forfeit.
Well, right. Of course. You're not invested in it. You're not playing for any stakes. You're just going through the motions to get out and run around, which, we can do that without having to fly all over the country.
Right. One thing that I do want to address, people have been bringing up, okay, well, we need to have some sort of resolution if other teams do this, et cetera, et cetera. I'm not going to say that we're going to go in and say, okay, well, what are we going to do if the next team forfeits? You guys have to understand this isn't something that, we go into tournaments. How many teams have just not shown up to tournaments in the 5 years that the circuit has existed? I can only think of this one. I don't know the history of every tournament, but I can only think of this one. So having something in place specifically for this may not be our immediate knee-jerk reaction, but instead, planning to prevent it is more where we're coming from. A lot of people have suggested a lot of things about a forfeit being less win points and a tie being.
Well, you can't control that either. That's not fair either.
Exactly, and that's the whole thing is how do you if a win is 3 points and a team got a win, we can't necessarily punish the winning team by giving them less points. So we'll figure it all out and we'll see what's going to fit best. But This isn't something. This is a rarity. This isn't you don't make the law for the rarities. You make it for the everyday stuff.
Yeah, you do. What if somebody from one team stabs another player on the other team as they round first base? First off, are they out or safe? And then are they allowed to be replaced? What happens? We don't have a plan for that.
Exactly.
This is why there is no what if appendix in the rule book.
I will write it. I will write that. It'll be like War and Peace. I'll cover everything that could happen. It's gonna be good.
Everything that could happen.
Every single thing.
Right.
Section
Right.
24.62 stabbing.
Yes. If you stab somebody while rounding first, that's an automatic out. I don't want people arguing like, well, I know he's getting arrested, but is he out? Yeah, he's out. He stabbed the first baseman.
Yeah, but okay. But what about this one? What about this one, Sean? Say if in the middle of the game where the team I'm on is playing the team that you're on, and all of a sudden in the middle of the game my water breaks and I give birth to our love child, whose team is that kid on? And
I'll tell you what. I'll tell you. Roll section 4.1, chapter 2. If you even show up, the tournament's canceled and everybody goes home.
I think that was a dig.
You don't have to worry about that.
I approve.
You're put on the no-fly list. That's Rule 2, Section 3, Part F.
But I have a car. Can I drive, or am I on the no-drive list?
You're just, I don't know. You can come in the state. We're canceling the tournament.
Why are you being so sad about us having a love child together? Why are you
want a child right now? Because you have to raise your children, and I don't want to have to raise anything right now.
So the kid will be on my team. You're going to abandon our child, and I'll have to raise the kid to be a kickball player.
That's why I don't want to have a child. Can you follow? Come on now.
Oh my goodness.
All my bases here. I've covered everything.
Yes, yeah, okay. Well, you're right. Hey, you said you were going to write the absolute comprehensive what-if scenario for the rule book, and you've done it. If I get pregnant by you, I can't play kickball anymore. So, good rule to know. I believe that is all we have to talk about for this week with the recap.
Okay, see you guys.
Just for that section.
All right, just for that section. Okay, my bad.
Congratulations, Meatballs. Congratulations, Situation, for getting to the finals and putting up the best game you could against the Meatballs. Coming up, our next tournament is in about a week and a half or 2 weeks. The Sin City Kickball Open in fabulous Las Vegas. I'm sure we'll have a pre-show about that coming up at some point in the next week or so. Steven, is there anything I missed that you want to any parting shots, parting thoughts, final thoughts?
I had a great time in Florida as the first event with me being CEO. I really thank everyone who came out and took the time to introduce themselves and help me put faces with names. And see you guys in Vegas, man.
All right, Sean, final shots, final parting thoughts. What you got?
Hey, you guys want to come to Florida? Come rage with me. I'll welcome you. I'll take you around. I'll give you the tour of McSorley's. There's the first room, there's a second room, and there's like an upstairs. And I'll show you every square inch of it.
Hey, yo.
Hey, that's right. Anybody traveling to Florida, contact Sean. He will show you all of his square inches. Okay, I think that's about all we've got for this episode of Encroachment. We will see you and ramble on more about kickball sometime in the near future.
All right.